Now to the Trump administration's widening weaponization web, the growing cluster of people being personally targeted for federal investigations. Yesterday, after celebrating an indictment against James Comey, Trump said Comey's successor, Christopher Wray, has some major explaining to do. In the last 7 days, Trump has also been name-checking Democratic donors while attempting to demonize his political opposition.
The Department of Justice is also investigating networks of radical left maniacs who fund, organize, fuel, and perpetrate political violence. I hear names of some pretty rich people that are radical left people. I'm the president of all the people. But the radical left is causing this. Radical left Democrats are causing this problem. It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. They are sick, radical left people, and they can't get away with it.
Joining me now, Ty Cobb, former White House counsel during the first Trump administration. He represented the Office of the Presidency during the Robert Mueller investigation, as well as that one, of course, into the Russian election interference. Ty, I'm glad you're here because I'm curious your big picture on why Trump publicly pressured his attorney general to go after perceived rivals. I mean, some of these people were simply doing their jobs and is now, teeing up these investigations of Democratic political groups.
Yes, I think, it's really not complicated. I mean, this is Trump's narcissism in full blossom. If you've got him acting like a 2-year-old, putting up pictures of all the presidents and having Biden's be the auto pin, putting his mugshot up in the White House, just doing silly things, the memes, having Obama arrested in the Oval Office. Yeah, this is just juvenile vengeance. And if you've offended Trump in the past, you have some vulnerability here. He will target you and he will try to destroy you.
Yeah, I was thinking what you said about the President Biden auto pen. That is in that new presidential wall of honor that you have in one of the corridors, and everybody else's face is there except Joe Biden's. There's just an auto pen. Okay, so Lindsay Halligan, as you know, was appointed Saturday, sworn in Monday, and then by Thursday secured the indictment that Trump has wanted for at least 5 years. Should we be impressed or troubled by how quickly the system can turn against its citizens?
Oh, I think we should be scared to death. First of all, at 30,000 feet, the fact that a man was indicted who the Justice Department, in the ordinary course of, traditional processes, investigated and concluded there was insufficient evidence to justify a criminal prosecution. But because he was an enemy of the president and because the president ordered his feckless attorney general to prosecute him now, that should scare us all. I mean, Justice Jackson, when he was Attorney General in 1940, made it very plain that targeting individuals as opposed to merely investigating crimes was the distinction between America and third world regimes. It was something that didn't happen here. Griffin Bell made the same point about how inappropriate it would be to prosecute anybody out of favor or for political partisan reasons. So, historically, that's not America. This isn't America as we've known it. This is really authoritarianism, and it should scare everybody.
So, Ty, for the many Republicans that are just cheering him on, what main points are they missing?
I think that is such a hard question to answer. I don't know whether they're missing anything, whether the Kool-Aid is just so strong that they can't see the way liberty is eroding in the United States, whether it's First Amendment freedoms or just the general protections that the Constitution guarantees, all citizens. But it is shocking. I mean, you have farmers who just take soybeans alone. They've lost $15 billion in Chinese purchases, but the majority of them supported Trump, and they still do. They expect to be bailed out with, our money, merely because of the, mistaken tariffs that Trump imposed. And so as a result, we get hit twice. We get hit with the tariffs, and then we get hit with the subsidy to the farmers. This is just craziness, and it is sad. I mean, and as you were going on with others about, right now we're in the middle of the invasion of Portland. That's not an accident. They're just, the things that are going on here are more than one or two deviations from the norm. These are really 180 degrees from the norm, and people need to wake up.
Ty, given you were in the Trump administration and the difference between then and now, what do you think it is? Do you think that Donald Trump learned how to harness his power in a way that he was not aware of, or at least had the guardrails in place in the first administration to keep him from doing so?
So I think there are two things. One, he was new to government and he relied on others who were more experienced, which was wise. And his coterie of sycophants, had 4 years to sort of plan this. The Russ Voigts and the Stephen Millers and the Steve Bannons, all got together and concocted Project 25 and other authoritarian wish lists, and they're executing effectively without sufficient resistance, I think. Secondly, as you highlight, there were guardrails. You had people like General Mattis, Nikki Haley, real public servants, people who were smart, strong, and not afraid to tell the president that he was wrong. You had General Kelly, whose service to the country, I think, is becoming clearer and clearer as we see what's happening now, because he was able to restrain Trump for a couple of years against his worst instincts, and it took a big toll on General Kelly, sadly, but he performed heroically in that role. We don't have anybody in this regime who's doing anything other but what Pam Bondi does. You want me to indict him now? Yes, sir. How fast can I get that done for you? That's not the role of the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice is supposed to be independent.
It's just, when I think about what's to come, what's most scary for you, Ty? I mean, do you envision the fact that Donald Trump is putting federal troops into different cities? Is part of the reason behind that not only to show power where those are, but to maybe maintain them there beyond whatever the stated goal is, have them be there around election time next year in November and beyond?
Yeah, so I'm not so sure about the midterms, but I think 2028 is something everybody should be very focused on. I think a lot of these things are practice exercises. We've seen federal troops, National Guard, being sent around the country, California, Washington, now Portland, Memphis, with others on the agenda. Chicago, he insists, is coming up. I think, and his comments today or yesterday, basically where he's made it plain that his sole focus right now is on targeting domestic enemies, George Soros. Anybody who raises money for the Democrats, Act Blue, any person who's opposed him in the past. So this is just narcissistic vengeance, at its core. This is authoritarianism. This is what has historically distinguished us from, the Allende's Chile, Stalin's Russia, Hitler's Germany, the Khmer Rouge's Cambodia. People need to wake up to that, and I think that takes me to the point that really does scare me the most, which is how few Americans seem to really appreciate how desperate the times we are in right now, and the necessity of stepping up and saying stop. This is not America. This is not who we are. We love our neighbors. We want to get back to fighting poverty, inclusiveness, and bringing people together and moving forward like a shining light on the hill that we once were. That's not us anymore. The lights are out.
Ty Cobb, it's always good to talk with you, and I'll have you back again very soon because I appreciate everything you say there. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.